Hey everybody, Little Joan and Tony D here with a hot take on the last moves of the Trump administration, term one. Trump discussed naming Sidney Powell in a special counsel on election fraud, according to the New York Times. Now, I don't put a lot of stock in the New York Times anymore, so you kind of got to read the tea leaves. I can't even get to the article. I would say that the New York Times is mainly using this to smear Sidney Powell and Trump as a bunch of conspiracy theorists. Um, I think Trump should appoint her to a special counsel. She's a lawyer, she's qualified, and she's pretty tenacious. Who cares if it pisses off the Democrats if Trump is leaving? And if Trump is staying, it doesn't matter either. But the window is just closing because Trump doesn't have any allies in the government. Giuliani asked DHS about seizing voting machines. They say no. They won't do it. Now, if this was 2002 and the Bush administration asked, although I forget when they formed the DHS. They formed the DHS right around there. Believe me, they'd be seizing the voting machines halfway through the sentence. With Obama, it would have been sneaky, but everybody would have been okay with it. They would have been, oh, yeah, sure. But with Trump, everybody puts up a fuss. They're trying to get rid of him. And every agency has been pressured, do not cooperate. If you cooperate, Biden's going to come in and break your stones. So, you can't count on the DHS. I mean, you can count on a lot of fingers all the people you can't count on now. You can't count on the Democrats. They're done. They're gone. There's almost no one in the Democratic Party that would help Trump, except maybe Tulsi Gabbard on a couple of issues. She's been pretty good. She's sort of the last principled Democrat, and she's leaving. All the other Democrats are worthless. The neoliberals, the globalists like Biden and that ilk, they are, of course, the enemy. They are happy to merge with the Europeans and create sort of a whole new capitalistic system where they all benefit and everybody else gets screwed, and they tell us how much money we can have. Oh, they're all about that. They're all about that global reset. That reset. The Great Reset. They love it. They think they'll have statues built to them, and the history books will write about them, glowing praise about, oh, how you saved everybody. No. What this period of history will write about is how the one guy, Donald Trump, who was trying to put the pieces back together, was stymied every step of the way by the people in government. They just don't see it. And forget about martial law, apparently. Now, this could be Trump, sidestepping, like, oh, no, I'm not going to do martial law. Hurry up and declare martial law. I doubt it. He seemed pretty, when he tweets something, in general, usually he means it. So, of course, he's only denying considering martial law, but he wrote on his Twitter, martial law equals fake news, just more knowingly bad reporting. So Trump's not going to declare martial law. I don't think he ever was now. And in fact, the Army and the military have come out and stated pretty emphatically, we don't get involved in elections. Which is interesting because Trump seemed to make a lot of moves to separate the Army from the intelligence community. And that would seem to indicate that Trump was kind of aligning himself with the military a bit. But no, it doesn't appear that way. And keep in mind, you have to use Trump as the guide. Trump is the guide for Trump. So, yeah, I thought it was martial law, but no. And that's probably a good thing. I'm kind of relieved. I think martial law would be bad. There's all sorts of things that could happen under martial law, and then it would be forever. Again, not that we aren't already living on martial law in New Jersey and half the country, but Martial law just doesn't look like it's an option for Trump. Now, that's both good and bad. It's bad because it might be, well, that's the last option, and Trump's just readying his base for 2024. Or the upshot is, no, that wasn't the plan. No, that wasn't the plan. Of course, the regular media is reporting things like, is Trump cracking under the weight of losing? Getting the boot from the White House is an undeniable ego blow for a man who never admitted defeat. No, I don't think he is. I think he just keeps going. He said himself he never gives up. I don't think he's given up. No. Now, the reason I don't think he's giving up, Dan Scavino keeps posting these tweets, and he had pictures of Trump with Lincoln in the background, Churchill in the background, Andrew Jackson in the background, stuff, American Eagle, that kind of stuff. Something's brewing. Dan has been the President Trump's social media director since before the 2016 election. He's a trusted and loyal Trump aide. Now, this is from the Gateway Pundit. They are overly optimistic, but I do think Trump has one last move. Because, look, you've got 56% of people say Biden's not their president. He's going to be insanely unpopular. And if you think Kamala Harris is going to be any better, you're wrong. She'll be even worse. They'll probably jettison Biden, putting her in to say, oh, maybe we can finally tamp all this nastiness down towards the president. And it's just going to be 1,000 times worse. And she is arrogant enough to make it worse. Biden at least kind of understands the dance a bit. He kind of backs off of things, and even though he just straight up lies, he knows when to lie and what to lie about, at least. Kamala Harris just seems arrogant as hell. Biden, if I were you, I wouldn't turn my back around her. She'd push her right down the stairs. But here's the big thing. Trump wants everybody to come on January 6th to Washington, D.C., promises wild protest, claims it's impossible, he lost. Now, this is either going to be a launch for 2024, which is very possible, or I think it could be his final move. And his final move is to get Pence to give him the election. Now, will Pence do it? I don't know, man. Pence is tough to read. They're not going to let the Trump team examine the voting machines. This is from, I think it's from today. And this is Arizona. They won't let them. Look at the machines. I've never seen anything like this. They cheated, and they won't let them look at the machines. Okay. And here's Jimmy Kimmel saying Mike Pence shouldn't get the beer virus vaccine. Instead, he needs a bottle of Clorox and a heat lamp. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, keep doing that, Jimmy. Because the more you make it untenable for Mike Pence to have a political career post-Trump, the more you push him into, F it, I might as well give it to Trump because at least I'll still be vice president. At least I'll have a chance at the end of 4 years to become the next president. If Pence backs down, if he counts the votes for Biden, the Trump supporters will never forgive him. He'll never become president. If he counts it for Trump, yes, the Democrats will hate him with a burning passion of 1,000 suns, but in order to get rid of him, they'll have to get rid of Trump again with impeachment, which in my view is politically, it's just not politically feasible. I think they'll try it, but ultimately I don't think they'll get impeachment. I just don't think they'll get it. You might get Romney on board. Yeah, go do it, but I don't think you'll be able to impeach him. You might, but I don't think so. And if you do impeach him and then you impeach Pence, you'll end up with Nancy Pelosi, which I gotta say, out of Biden, Kamala Harris, and Pelosi, I think I'd take my chances with Pelosi. I know she's horrible too, but she's horrible in a like normal way. I don't think she is. I don't think she really cares. I don't think she wants to be president. So I don't think. I think Biden would be an unmitigated disaster. I think Kamala would be just as big a disaster. I think Pelosi would be a disaster, but one that would be much more manageable because she probably wouldn't do much. She just wouldn't want to even be president. So she'd just kind of finish her term and then just kind of want to get through however many years they have left. And keep in mind, if they do take Trump to impeach him, it's going to take a year, 2 years, and all that time Trump will hopefully expose the thing. I don't know. But Trump doesn't have the Democrats. He doesn't have the intelligence community behind him. The FBI, the CIA, they're both against him. Probably the NSA too. The Army has said no. DHS has said no. SCOTUS has said no. And SCOTUS was the one I think I was hanging my hat on. I thought SCOTUS would, if they had to listen to the case, we were golden. And they're just not. They're just not going to listen to it. It's clear that Roberts will not listen to anything. They'll docket things and then dismiss them. Although there's still time that Amy Coney Barrett and Kavanaugh and Alito and Thomas will, force the issue. I think they should. But all these guys in Washington, they're just too ensconced. They're too ensconced in the swamp. They're too comfortable. They love their lives and their career, and they're going to write books, and they're going to have a library with leather-bound books to sit in front of and take pictures. Oh, and they'll have a legacy, and it'll be historic, and the country will fall apart. But meanwhile, they'll get pictures taken of them. They will have lots of money and a comfortable life, and their families will be, get to go to the right schools, and that they will be part of the new government in the future. Because why not? These people only care about themselves. If the Supreme Court cared, they would have overturned it. They would have done it. These people will come to. I hope they live to regret their decision. I really do. China is behind most of this, I think, now. I think it's pretty clear. Once you know that you have about 2 million spies in the West, they're going after everybody. They have stuff on everybody. And these people are so comfortable in their lives. You look at Eric Swalwell banging some hot Asian spy. He has no shame. He has no shame. He's fighting for his political career. If this was 20, 30, 40 years ago, be no question. He would resign immediately in shame, in utter shame. He has no shame. He doesn't care. He doesn't care that even he may not have consciously given her state secrets or, told her anything. He doesn't even care that he was a useful idiot. This is, unfortunately, it all goes back to one thing, education. Eric Swalwell was probably educated in a public school, or maybe he went to a private school, I don't know. But either way, the number one thing that students in school learn in America is none of the subjects. The number one thing they learn is confidence. What we teach in these schools is you're 100% right. Not that we teach them how to be right or how to critically think. We teach them to just know that they're right and push forward with that. And that's what Eric Swalwell is. He's a typical American. Oh, I've been compromised by a Chinese spy and while I'm a member of Congress on an intel committee. Oh, well, I could certainly keep my position. There's no problem with that. Oh, I made a mistake, but yeah, sure, everybody does that. It's is arrogant enough to believe that he is the one guy who could sleep with a Chinese spy and not give her any information. Yeah, no, him. Yeah, Eric Swalwell. Yeah, he seduced her and banged her. You know, even though he had no idea she was a Chinese spy, he got the better of her. That's what he's told himself. That he's so handsome and wonderful that a Chinese spy would sleep with him probably a bunch of times. And that there's no way he was compromised. There's no way she got to his phone and downloaded all his info. There's no way she got to his laptop and, put in a virus for that. Oh, there's no way. No way. Because he's Eric Swalwell, you see. He's the man. That's what we have in this country. We have thousands of Eric Swalwells in Washington, D.C. And the Chinese got their number. And they're all compromised. Not every single person in D.C., but thousands of them are. You know? Imagine some little bureaucrat who isn't even as handsome and as young as Eric Swalwell getting seduced by some hot Chinese girl, right? And she's a spy, and he just happens to be in charge of something that, it looks like nothing but, information goes through his department, and she just gets access to it after having sex with him a few times. I mean, the Chinese are willing to do that. And someone like that, a Chinese spy, I'm sure the female Chinese spy that banged Eric Swalwell, oh my God, the medals she must be getting. She must have a great house now and a wonderful life. And she talks about banging Eric Swalwell and what an idiot he was and how stupid it was, and how she just ran rings around him for the Chinese communists. And I'm sure she's got a great life now. Big house, husband and children. And Eric Swalwell, she laughs every time she hears his name. That's what these guys will do until, Washington wakes up. But Jimmy Kimmel will make fun of Mike Pence and drive him into the arms of Donald Trump. Yeah. So on January 6th, I think what Trump is going to do, I think he wants millions of Trump supporters in D.C. It's an optics thing. To intimidate Congress. To intimidate Pence to a small degree. Although I don't think Pence would be intimidated. I think he would be like, oh, I got support here. I'm going to do this. To intimidate everybody. No. Trump isn't going away. Or it's the launch of 2024. I can't tell you anymore. I really can't. I just go back and forth. I just go back and forth. It's maddening. It's maddening to be living in this time period. May you live in interesting times. And we are.